Hi, welcome to Tuesday's chat. And I'm going to start off by looking at this kit because recently I did the old Tiger Moth, and I think many of you that have watched some of the older videos, or not that old, are at least quite familiar with what's in the old Tiger Moth box, and I'm going to show you how Airfix has developed. I mean, most of you know that, you don't need telling. You know, we've gone from that little tiny kit which had about, I don't know, 20 parts to a very, very nice quality kit. I mean, as they have done with almost all of their kits. Interior detail on the inside of the fuselage there. Very, very nice. Obviously, the quality of all the parts is very, very crisp. The struts. So previously, you know what the struts looked like, just the individual pieces. Now you've got these extra middle pieces. You've got a better, it's that part there. You've got a better sort of piece for mounting the seats on with a little bulkhead there. The wings have now got a little bit of extra detail on. You've got the aileron linkages. You have got quite a nice, I don't know if that's going to come through, the surface tech, it's not a surface texture, it's the ribs and the multi-ribs right at the leading edge. So you've actually got a very, very nice wing shape. You've got pilot figures which, I mean, they may not be the best you've ever seen, but they're certainly an improvement on the previous stuff. You've got very nice wheels with the DH logo. Seats are better. You've got the cowling which is separate. Now, it would have been a real bonus if they'd given you a little engine, which they could easily have done, but it honestly doesn't matter. Could have done one panel off, one of these panels off, and given you a little engine, and that could be the topic of a small detailing build if one chose to do that. You've got a much nicer exhaust section. I mean, all in all, they've done a really, really nice job, and they are doing a really nice job when they redo these. I shouldn't say redo because it's a completely new fuel tank. I don't know if that's going to come across. The fuel tank has got a very nice corrugated surface there, very finely done. So you know that three sprues worth of stuff. And then, of course, the little clear parts for what is really one of the simplest kits out. Now, granted, because it's a biplane, you get a bit extra. Instrument panels, very nice quality decals. And this box, they release this in another color scheme as well. Now, I sort of wonder about that a little bit. Why not provide two schemes and two decal sheets in one box? I mean, does it make a difference to the sales? Is it going to make people buy two of the kit if they provide two of the kit? I'm not sure about the marketing aspects of doing that. So the Tiger Moth has got two variants, the Vampire's got two variants. But this is very, very nice. You know, that sort of really, it makes you as happy to build this kit now as what buying the kits did in the 80s. These new quality things are amazing. The instructions, I'm not as crazy about these darker style. But there's nothing wrong with it really. And then they have given this pretty good rigging diagram. So I mean, really, they've done a very good job on this sort of really entry-level box. This is almost a little bit more than an entry-level kit, but compared to many of the others, it is. So this Dakota has got a interesting story behind it. I didn't build it, got it from a guy. It's been hanging on my ceiling for quite a number of years. And last year at some stage, I heard within a split second the ping of a line snapping, and then I got smashed on the body with a Dakota as one of the lines gave way, and this thing then it sort of swung down, broke the other line, and then smacked into me, and then smacked onto the floor and broke all of its pieces off. So not every day you get sort of attacked by one of the models on your ceiling. I decided then to do invasion stripes on it because it was a little bit bland. So now obviously it looks, the invasion stripes are quite bright, very clean and crisp compared to the rest of the model, but I wasn't out to do a sort of a well blended model. I just wanted to do nice invasion stripes. So that's, the wings came out very well because the wings are easy. Then I got to this section and I was just not getting it right. I just couldn't get it masked to spray the white part. So I've sprayed the black, and then I looked at photos of some of the DC3s flying, and there's a couple that have got very, very nice invasion stripes on this part, and some of them have got it a little bit weird and wrong. Anyway, I set this aside because every time I tried to realign the tape, I was just running into problems, couldn't do it, and I've sort of finally realized what the problem is, and that is that you don't have a constant difference. So your stripe width, as on the wings, can be applied to, let's say, the top and the bottom possibly, but you can't apply it to the sides because you've got a bulged section and it's actually going to be wider. So if I start applying a stripe matching those stripes over here, I end up with a weird curved shape over here, and that's sort of what was happening. So now, knowing that, I will change that. So you can't just have that tape running like that. You have to sort of pre-plan that and pencil draw that out a bit better. Have them all lined up, and they're not going to be, if you measure down the middle, they're not going to be the same spacing as here. And then that's going back up onto the ceiling. It would have been nice if I had a set of decals, but that'll just have to stay like that. Some of it's actually a little bit interesting. Some of the decals just flake off, like those are just flaking off, and that one, for instance, is so absolutely set in there that it's deteriorating with the paint, which is not bad at all. But I don't quite know why the different decals behave so differently. Now, one of the viewers asked about my top 10 builds. So that sort of got me thinking, and we'll have that as an upcoming video. If I have to go through the collection and find the builds that are my best quality or the best visual, the most appealing visually, that brings up a certain set, but they don't necessarily represent the best builds. But that's what we'll do. I'm going to bring up what I sort of feel are the models which they were a very good build in my build history. They are visually appealing to some degree. Obviously, it'll be less to some people, more to other people. And we'll look at that. And then I'm going to do I'll do a follow-up to that in a year and a half's time or 2 years' time. Because I've got a feeling that set is going to completely change as I work on the Phantoms, the Mustangs, and the Harvards. I've got a feeling that my top 10 builds is going to completely be part of those Harvard, Mustang, and Phantom builds, including the 132nd and possibly a couple of the 148s as well. Included in my top 10 builds that I will discuss is some which were the top at a certain point in my career, but I feel I should include them, even though lining them up now, they look a little bit average compared to some of the others, but they were my absolute best at a certain time for a particular reason. So we'll get to all of that. That'll be a slightly longer video, I think, talking about 10 builds. A little bit of a follow-up on, I was talking about you could follow a path where you're building and it's not costing you an awful load, because some of these kits are pretty expensive, and if you're able to find kits at secondhand places and things like that, you can get whether they be old 70s and 80s kits or even slightly more modern stuff, but buying secondhand, you can obtain them cheaper sometimes, although I don't know. eBay scares me a little bit because people try and call everything a collector's item and try and become millionaires off selling stuff. But I think you can still buy sort of good value for money kits. But ideally, if you can get to swap meets and in your model club. Now, having those models, I mentioned that I was talking about the fact that we have all of these million aftermarket things now, and I actually like the fact that we have all of these aftermarket things because it's nice to have the choice. But I don't commonly buy them for a couple of reasons. The shipping is expensive. They themselves are expensive. And I have said that where I get them with a kit, because some people buy it and then sell the whole kit with the extras, then that's nice. You get sort of a package deal all in one. What I was trying to convey, which I'm not sure I conveyed that clearly, was that it's not so much whether you like all the aftermarket or not, or if you prefer just building straight up. I mean, I happen to build most of my stuff straight up, or with a little bit of scratch building. But that you can set aside that impression that everything you view on YouTube or all of these very, very top quality builds have got so much aftermarket in them. Maybe. I know there's some guys that actually build awesome builds without going aftermarket. But what I'm saying is there's maybe a lot of visibility of all of these products, and so you feel like just building the plain kit is too bland. And my point with that was that you can still choose a path through modeling which ignores a lot of that, and you just enjoy your builds and you do them. You can do a great job with what you've got in the kit, or with a little bit of scratch building. Nothing wrong with that. And as some of you have said, the canopies, that's quite an affordable aftermarket part. Yep, I do actually have a lot of the vac form canopies. Sometimes some of the little photo etch sets, and actually I noticed that you are starting to get a lot more options with the photo etch sets which are cheaper. So shipping may still come into play with that, but I think at first, the garage, the sort of garage industry options were quite escalated in price. Now we've got an explosion of products, some of which are highly priced, but you're also getting a lot of competition and a lot of cheaper options available. I'm not against the use of any of it. I get a little bit irritated with the resin parts for a couple of reasons. Sometimes they involve a bit too much work to get them to fit, but maybe other manufacturers, if the fit is great. I don't like the fact that they're so brittle. One of you mentioned that the 3D printed resin parts, absolutely top quality, and I know for the ships in particular, but I'm guessing for the aircraft as well, these days you can get such amazing stuff, which I do agree. I was almost going down that route with one of my ship models. I found a place that was producing just, they were packaging certain little bits. It wasn't like you bought it all for one ship and there you've got it. It was like, did you want these little pieces, these guns, those guns, those guns, those shields, those life rafts. I can't even remember all the different things, but you could easily start collecting a huge ton of that stuff, and in the end it does add up. It adds up to more than the kit again. So I held off. I didn't actually buy, and I'm not building. I've got a number of ships lined up, but I'm not currently actually touching anything on a ship. Yeah, so it's not a pro or against the aftermarket. It's just, you don't have to make your life so expensive, so to speak, with buying that. But there's modelers who build far fewer models, and so you can actually then buy a lot more aftermarket because you're not trying to buy it for so many kits. Right, what else was there? I have got a couple of interesting videos coming up. I might do one of them. I need to sort of make a little bit of a plan for that. The top 10 models, it's going to take me a few days to organize that one, possibly even a week or more. But I've got one interesting one coming up that I can think of. If you guys have got suggestions, totally open to that. We'll see what we can fit in with your suggestions. What was the other thing? I'll have to start making a list. My memory, with all of the topics and all of the thoughts, my memory loses track of all the things I need to speak about. I am having quite a good year of modeling, even though the number of completed builds is low. It's sort of on par with what I expect, but I think being the end of April, I would have thought that maybe I would have finished a bit more of the medium-sized model, like, maybe 3 motorbikes or something like that. So I'm thinking there's probably going to be a little bit of a pile-up at one stage. There's going to be... well, one of the Phantoms is coming soon, but I guess near the end of the year there'll be a couple of bigger builds that reach completion. Not sure about the 132nd Phantom. That's probably worth not rushing, so might not finish that this year. But we've got a number of builds that will get done. I'm cleaning my work desk, and I'm doing a bunch of building, and then I have to clean my work desk again. Some of you do a really good job of cleaning up daily. Like after I've cleaned up, a couple of days later, I'm working in my little patch of space again. But there sort of seems to be that balance of achievement where you have got a certain amount of parts and everything spaced out. Okay, I guess that's... Oh, I did see a very nice... I saw a very nice clip on canopy making, and I have ordered a heat gun, which I think I'm going to try and do that vampire canopy with a heat gun rather than the hot water method. That's with this. This one's the thin one. I might even try the Coke bottle thickness as well. We'll make a couple and we'll see how it goes when that heat gun arrives. I actually haven't used a heat gun much before, so that'll be interesting. I'll do the hot water one just for the YouTube experiment of it, and we'll see, because I don't know to what degree this stuff is going to shrink and shrivel up with actual boiling water as opposed to water that was boiling and I poured it into a cup and walked to the garage with it and is now a good 10 to 15 degrees less heat. But we'll see what we can do. I mean, I can boil it here as well. But the heat gun is obviously far superior for that. And with this thin plastic with the heat gun, I'll have to do a couple of experiments because it'll probably shrivel it up quite quickly if I'm not careful. Today, more work on the phantoms. I've been researching colors on the phantoms, so yeah, I hadn't been aware of those red edged undercarriage doors. Have got red edges. The air brakes have got red interiors. I don't quite know what those two little doors are that stand about at that angle near the middle of the fuselage. Are they like bleed doors for the engines or something? Because they're not related to undercarriage or air brakes or anything like that. They must be some sort of air bleed doors. They've also got red interior. I was looking at a bit of cockpit detail, seat detail. I'm sort of heading in the direction of painting these seats, but I'll do them in parts rather than glue them together because the padding of the seat is different from the framework, which is gloss black, but not too bright a gloss black. I need to weather it a little bit. So yeah, at this stage, a lot of cleaning of parts, which takes time. Okay, that's it for today. Happy modeling. Cheers.